Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Her Empire, Her Wealth. I have here Jacqueline Aviles-Torres, amazing, incredible woman here. One of our published authors in Girl Heal, just published. Paperback is launching tomorrow, by the way. Exciting stuff.
Super.
And just really excited to have Jacqueline here. We have a lot of exciting things to share on the topic of healing intergenerational trauma and the power of forgiveness. I believe that's a lot of what I took from your chapter, Jacqueline. I did read your chapter, and I think it's really, really powerful. So I'm really looking forward to doing this today. But
Thank you.
Jacqueline is the Chief Executive Officer. She is a licensed master social worker, school social worker, and star behavioral health provider for the military, right? You said?
Yes.
Yes. And we're excited to dive deep into this topic. Jacqueline, if you'd like to share a little bit more about you and tell us what inspired you to want to be a part of Girl Heal.
Super excited. How is everyone today? I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you, Jennifer, for having me on your podcast and part of these beautiful, beautiful, I would say, life journeys, right? It's been an honor to be part of the Girl Heal trajectory and project, and this is this is an explosion of healing, like a revolution. So, as Miss Jen Lara was saying, I am the CEO for Core Family Solutions based out of New Jersey. I'm also a licensed master's level social worker. I also do school social work and a star behavioral health care provider, along with consulting services, transformational coaching, one on one mentorship, and holistic services, which we can get into as we keep moving forward. I decided to take the leap and join Girl Heal because it really resonated with me, Jen. I've been watching you for some time now, and just that authenticity of you sharing your story is super empowering. And when I was able to get an opportunity that you offered, and it's just been an honor. So I decided to jump in and say, let's do it, because healing is important, for everyone.
I love your story about how we connected and how my email went to your spam box.
I was gonna share that, but I'm like, okay, do I say that again? So yes, guys, her email was in spam. How? I don't know, but see, life is interesting like that. And I'm glad that I met the deadline to really be part of this project and be able to write my chapter. But it was interesting how we connected the way we did. It was meant to happen.
It happened in its divine timing because who knows, maybe if you would have seen it previously, you wouldn't have, been as open, but then you saw it at the right time, right?
Absolutely, absolutely divine timing. It's just really meant to happen. And just being a part of this has just been such an honor. And it really has also opened up a lot of doors, not only for me, but for people around me that have already read the book on Amazon, with the Kindle
Oh,
version. So they can't wait for the book to drop. And now you're telling me it's tomorrow. We can't wait. Oh, it's
yes.
exciting,
We're so excited
exciting.
for the paperback because, if the ebook in itself created that impact, having the physical copy and being able to highlight it, write in it, take your time with it, it's going to make a big difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we have a soft launch coming as soon as the book is available in New Jersey and New York. So
Ooh.
that'll be happening, and I'll be flying out next in about a week and a half to Dallas. So they'll be coming with me if they're already here. So they'll be presented because this is something that should be spread out at a national and international level. And I wouldn't be backing it up if I didn't believe in it. Just being your true, we were talking about that, being your true, authentic self, no apologies. This is who I am, and I stand in my power. regardless of the challenges that I faced or I'm facing, because the truth is that I'm sitting here, but I'm facing my own set of challenges, but I'm here with purpose, right?
Mhm.
And not forgetting, okay, why am I showing up? I'm not just
Exactly.
showing
You
up
are
for me,
grounded in purpose.
and it's for you. I'm showing up for me, I'm showing up for you, I'm showing up for everyone that will tune in or has tuned in, because healing is necessary. It's
It is.
important.
It's gonna change the world. And I wanna share a little bit more about Jacqueline because she truly is an amazing woman. She is a first-gen graduate who has not only survived extreme poverty and abuse, but has made a decision to rise above it all and her intergenerational trauma to encourage and empower her children, family, and other women and families to live life as they truly deserve, which is absolutely powerful. I think especially those of us who have grown up in poverty, we didn't know another life. So we continue to live that life unless we break that cycle. So I want to hear more about that from you, Jacqueline. Tell us more about your upbringing. What was that like?
Well, my upbringing was rather interesting too. Now, and I say it that way because to whomever reads about it, they'll say, "Wow, okay, this is interesting." But I was born into my mom and my dad, my family. I was an unwanted pregnancy, and growing up, it was hard for my mom. My mom became a single mother, and she was doing the best that she could. And for me growing up, I moved. I just kept we kept moving. I kept saying, we're kind of like a gypsy mother and daughter, until finally my siblings came along, which are one of my greatest joys, which I love wholeheartedly. They were the abundance. My mom was doing the best that she could, and we were on food stamps and Section 8, and it's unbelievable to see, that the promise that I made to her is has become true, which is to break that intergenerational curse. Not that there was nothing to be embarrassed about, being on any of the programs. They're there if you need them, but it was more so she wanted more for her children, regardless of the tools that she was given. So I had to really break through that and break my heart and be broken in the process, and then kind of come together. It's just like I was telling you before, sometimes we just have to let things kind of break apart. um and even growing, you were already saying that if we don't change that, I knew what it was to be poor even when I had my daughter, and just having a mattress on the floor,
Mm,
and there was nothing to do, right? But really process the fact that I got pregnant, although the doctors said, I have PCOS. So they told me I could never have kids, and here she comes, and I was
yeah,
repeating the cycle again. And I said, this has to stop. So it's not just your words, it's your actions, it's your follow through, it's working through your tears,
yeah,
and processing those tears. But I'm very proud to say, yes, I came from a very materially impoverished background, if we can say it.
yeah,
But, she did the best that she could, and I love her for it, and I forgive her for what she did. No,
yeah. Yeah, because, from reading your chapter, it sounded like it was a lot, and I would love for you to take us back. What did unwanted sound like for you in the world as a child, Um, especially growing up in poverty, you feel like you're a burden, right? And so
yeah.
I want to hear that from you. You wrote about that in your chapter.
I did. And I'm proud of it, in the most loving manner to write the chapter. You know, was hard because watching those words on paper, like writing this out, like this was my truth, and there were things there that my siblings didn't know of. There were things there my children didn't know of. My partner didn't know, my husband didn't know, my best friend didn't know. And I was like, screw it, it's going out there because people need to know, not Jackie the LMSW, this, that, and the other. It's Jackie in front of you. And being unwanted, learning my story and living through what I lived through. Because even when you grow up, you're piecing things together like a puzzle. Like, why did this or that happen? But I was born in wedlock, which was rather interesting. Um, to then come and find out that I was not wanted, and that came directly from my mother's mouth. My mother told me, we didn't plan you, we didn't want you. Um, and I still remember my father beating my mom and beating her, blaming her for having me.
Mm.
And then she blaming me for always reminding her of him. So it was very toxic, traumatic, kind of cyclic in a sense, and I wanted the beatings and the abuse to stop, with me, and that it didn't get to my siblings, which is their own story to tell.
Mhm.
Um, but it was hard, it wasn't only you're unwanted, it's, oh, you're never going to amount to anything. And,
Mhm.
you're supposed to be producing for me, doing what I need you to do. And that's understandable to a certain point until they dress you up and tell you you have to go out with her partners X, Y, and Z, and then realize at an older age, wait, kind of trafficking, sexual trafficking, and being passed on from one hand to the next. That's something that was never ever spoken about. It was more be quiet about it. Um, and then I developed an eating disorder,
Mhm.
because there wasn't, we couldn't touch certain foods that were bought. There wasn't food. And when there was food, you couldn't touch the food. So as I grew up, it was like, that whole mentality, I'm not going to have food to eat, right? So I
Yeah.
did develop that food disorder. But it was very hard to process. But now, like I said, working on forgiveness and understanding, she wasn't given the proper tools. She wasn't given an opportunity to heal. No one said
Mhm.
it's okay to heal.
Mhm. Wow, Jacqueline, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing that because there's a lot of vulnerability in that. And I can see that you've overcome so much of that because there's so many layers to it. Everyone, if you can hear this story, there's so many layers to it, right? And we were just talking about that before this call.
Yes.
Before we started this live, we were talking about that healing is not linear, right? Because there, especially when you go through different levels of trauma in your life, poverty, right? Sexual abuse, and all the different things
Yeah.
that, and feeling unwanted or unloved. Those are all other forms of trauma in itself. Neglect,
Yes.
adversity. There's so many different adversities here, and why they happen? Why do they happen in that way? Why has it been that way for generations?
Yeah. Well, no one ever stopped to say we're done with this. It's, experiencing sexual abuse, at the hands of the people that are supposed to love you the most. It's like, shh, taboo. We don't talk about what's happened. And that's something that, you know, at least coming from where I sit and from where I'm at, it was a cultural thing. It was a family thing,
Mhm.
and I knew if it happened to me, it must have happened to someone else. I knew that I wasn't just that one kid that was going through that. Why was I unloved? She wasn't taught, or she wasn't, yeah, no one told her, listen, I truly love you. So how could she give me something that she never had? And I understand now it's a decision you have to make. But if you have gone through a process where you're so broken that no one and nothing kind of comes in your direction with some sense of positivity, then what do you have to look forward to? And I saw that day in and day out with my mom, which, regardless of the fact, I wholeheartedly love. That is the true love of my life, other than, my children and my family. You have to learn to
Honestly, like,
forgive.
I am so impressed because what you went through was so much. That is a lot to feel resentful, to be angry, to be mad, to cut your family members
I
off.
was.
Yes, exactly. But you overcame that, and I think there's so much power in everything that you're saying because you were able to turn that anger, that frustration, that I'm done with you guys, to, you know what? I understand now. I see it differently now. You didn't have these opportunities. You didn't know healing. You didn't, you loved me in the way that you could. It wasn't in the way that I needed, but it was in
Yeah,
the way that you were able to, in the capacity that you had.
absolutely.
And
Jen, if I didn't do that, Jen, I would have died with her. My mom died very young. She died in my arms, and of course, joke of the day, and guys, I mean this sarcastically. I have some dark humor, so disclaimer with this.
we love dark humor.
Um, she died in my arms on Mother's Day, and it was also my son's birthday. So I
Wow.
always say the diva picked the best date, something that you will never forget. So imagine carrying cupcakes during the day, and then I'm putting her in a body bag at night. She died in my arms telling me, I wish you would have been my mother. And I
Oh,
didn't know how to process that at the moment, because I'm like, you're dying on me. That was the feeling I had. You're dying on me, and having this spiritual complication of, now that we've spoken, and now that we've started with the I understand and I accept the fact that you're sorry, and I embrace you, now you're leaving. So it was like boom, boom, like one thing after the other, and you're like, what do we do? And it took years. The process of transformation and healing intergenerational trauma is not pretty, folks. It really isn't pretty. And whoever sells it to you pretty, I am sorry, not sorry, you're lying.
yeah,
The process of healing is not linear, it's different for everyone, but it could be a beautiful, messy process. You have to go through it, not under it, not over it, through it to feel it and to process it. Now you're not giving yourself a fighting chance, you know?
exactly. And you know what? Everything you're saying is just so powerful. I love the way that like, I almost cried when you said that your mother said that she wished that you were her mother, because when you heal that generational trauma and you embody love and you provide that healing just for being you and just for breaking those cycles to the rest of your family, right?
Absolutely.
To your parents, to the ancestors, to your grandparents, to your great
Right.
grandparents, everyone who didn't get that opportunity to heal, you gave that to them. And I think that's so beautiful because that's how it goes, right? That's what needs to happen. We're not just healing for ourselves, we're healing for the future generations and the past generations, our ancestors who so
Absolutely.
desperately needed that love too.
Absolutely. You have to ask yourself, what do you want to hand down to the next generation? And what would have my ancestors wanted from me, or what do they want from me? Because my beliefs are different than everyone else, and I respect everyone, and your beliefs. But I feel my ancestors are all around me. I picked this place on purpose, right? Because I believe so much in the Mother Earth and the energies and the elements around us. And I think that without doing this the way that I do it, meaning being intentional, there's no intentional healing. There's no healing at all. And if you don't do it for you, it doesn't matter. If I say I did it for my daughter or my son, or I did it for my family, I said that for many years. I was lying, because I wasn't truly healed. It was
Yeah.
just holding it up. So I had to really kind of step
You were
up to
just holding
myself.
up a
It
standard,
was a
right?
it
Like,
was
"Oh,
a
this is just
facade,
what yeah, this is just what my family needs, so this is what I have to do," you know?
and
And
that's not what they needed. They needed
exactly.
this now.
They need you whole for you, you
Yes,
know?
absolutely, absolutely.
Wow, I'm amazed, Jacqueline. That is bringing so much fire into my soul right now. I can feel it. It's giving me energy and it's giving me light hearing you talk about it because, you feel as an empath, you feel a lot of what other people are going through, but being that light for others, there's so much power in that. And I love that you're doing healing with medicine and social work and, so many different areas through your education, through your experience, through your storytelling. Can you tell
Absolutely.
us a little bit more about what you do? And because you do a little bit of like curanderismo and, all that mujeres de medicina, you call it, right?
Yeah, that was someone there are two people that I truly love that I'm truly inspired by that invited me to a project, and one of the recent most beautiful experiences that I've had in my life was really going overseas and being part of an amazing retreat. And who knew, right? Who knew that, really expanding your power, that was available to you. Truly our ancestors know that. And I do believe that the medicines of the earth are the are is really what heals us. They're the most powerful, but you have to respect your elements. You have to respect your ancestors. You have to figure out where you come from. If you don't know, take the time to get to know you, because you're the most important factor. I always say this phrase, and people will debate me on it, and we can step toe to toe. I'm good. It's okay to be positively selfish, because if you don't take care of your own needs, then you're going to really bend on that knee very hard. When you tell kids, okay, stop running, you're going to fall, you sometimes have to let them fall, and scrape
Yeah.
their knees. And here comes individuals like myself. It doesn't matter at what age. Healing is something that goes on for your full life. It's not something that stops. Healing is part of your transformation. And I realized that connecting my spiritualism, my work with energy and intuitive healing, and the medicines of the earth have been the most integrative part of this journey to help others transform, because it's what's helped me fully heal, right? Although healing is continuous, but the medicine has really helped me understand what La Madre Tierra, or Mother Earth, has to offer us, and the understanding that we're all abundant. We're
Ah,
all abundant. It's a
yeah.
state of mind. It's your purpose. It's your right. Honestly,
Your
it's
birthright.
your right. It's your
Exactly.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's your right just for being here, just for being alive, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and I can offer. I do family constellations, and now we're going into another step. I do the Reiki and the sound healing and los cantos a nuestros ancestros, which are the hymns, or the singing to our ancestors, and doing all those things. But that's out of here, out of heart, right? You do things with purpose and with heart, being genuine and pure. That's what's going to help others also heal. But standing in your purpose, and understanding that, yes, I have all the credentials after my name, but what speaks to me the most is that transformation, intuitive integrative piece with the medicines of the earth, and also bringing in the shamanic pieces and the ancestral pieces, because we can't forgive where we came from. I think that's so very important to understand.
Yeah, right. You have to, I think it is really important. So I think that's really cool that you do a lot of that ancestral work as well, right? I think that's really powerful. And, one thing that's been on my mind right now since we've been talking is that
Mhm.
you have a military background,
Yeah.
right? Can you
My
tell us
my
more about that?
yeah, my son's military, and I have family that's in the military. And what happened was that I have to giggle because really it's the way that I get through things. I just giggle a little bit. Um, my son's here by the grace of the Almighty, or the higher power. Um, all these people that are coming in and out of the military are vets, and the people that are serving, and I honor them. A lot of them with PTSD wind up in my hands or under my care, as a STAR behavioral military provider. And the reason why I stepped into it, it was really because of what my son endured. And, I tell him to this day, you're my hero.
Mm,
He was two steps away from a terrorist that killed some of his brothers, which to me were like my children. Once a military individual or military family, you're always a military mother or individual. And these were people that I knew. These were children that grew up that I knew, that he knew. And to be two steps away from the gunmen and come back, I didn't get my son back the way that he went in. And
mm,
we knew that that was a probability. We didn't know if
mhm,
he was going to come back, period, right?
mm.
Because they get their orders, and I said, you know what, again, breaking
Yeah.
intergenerational curses. What was the one thing I needed growing up? I needed nurturance and support. So what did I do? I dove right into mental health and becoming certified in behavioral providing for the military, because they are ones that also need most of the services that are not available in a more comprehensive way. And what I mean is just open, you know,
Mhm.
a lot of our vets, and we can definitely talk about it. They don't have appropriate services. So here comes, they say Aviles, here comes Aviles with her very militant therapeutic services, because I meet them where they are. No, they'll say, "Oh, here comes Aviles. Here comes Aviles." I'm like, "Wow, you guys sound like someone's coming to get you." I'm here to help you
I
walk
love that
your
though
journey.
because it sounds like it comes from so much love, you know? Like they have full respect, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's interesting to see women step into roles that they were always meant to be in, although we weren't supposed to be in them. And coming in and serving a military, predominantly males, it's interesting to watch, that relationship, while you're that working relationship while you're providing services, and to see how they open up. um, but I really got into it because of also a traumatic event. So stepping into that, you never know, you might be saving a life. So I do what I do with that intention of maybe my story will save a life. Maybe it'll, resonate with someone, just like you
Exactly.
did, Jen, with sharing all of this.
Oh, no, I agree, and I think it's really amazing that you're doing that work um, and that you're a survivor, and you turn that into social work because that's what you needed. You needed, people that would be there for you in that way too and support your healing and your growing. And I guess one of the questions I think would be helpful for the listeners,
Hmm.
maybe some of the women listening, some of the men, right? Since you work very closely with men,
Hmm.
um, who are still newly out, maybe of the military, right? What are some of the practical first steps that you would share, especially from your experience, with your son and everything that you went through?
The first thing I would say is that the bravest thing that you can do is seek out help. You know, the bravest thing that you can do is to say, I need the help. Um,
And that's
and
not a weakness, right? That's not a
no,
weakness.
no, that's the bravest thing that you can do. The
That's the
bravest, I
bravest
always
thing.
say, the bravest thing you can do is cry. The bravest thing that you can do is say, listen, I need your help. That doesn't make you weak. That doesn't make you a lesser woman, man. And I also speak to my youth, because I know my youth also they find me everywhere. So it's okay to be you and stand in that firmness and understand that, this is your power. And yes, I went through this, whether it's in the military or in your life. That's part of your story, but how do we make you whole again? And it's very hard with, fellow military families when they come to me and say, I lost my son, what do I do now? Or a military individual, which I honor, forever will honor, that will say, I lost my leg, so how do you want me to get over it? No, I don't
Mhm.
expect you to get over it. I expect you to go through it, feel it, process it, and understand why you made the commitment in the first place. Because
Yeah,
we know that no moment is promised, Jen. No
yeah,
moment is promised. I could cross the street, anything can happen.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
just walk through it, walk in your purpose, be brave enough to get the healing that you deserve and the
That
therapeutic
support, right?
services
And
that you
what kind
need.
of support do you encourage people searching for? What kind of resources are there out there for people?
I would tell people, first of all, we have to get the rates down on military and overall suicide, and overdoses, right? Those numbers are climbing, and that's for anyone. There is, I believe it's an international, or not a national line for suicide. I believe it's 911, for emergencies. It's 311 for the suicide numbers. There's also 211 in New Jersey, but you
Yeah,
can reach out call 911, call your local police, and I tell people that's something that, you reach out and say, I need help. They will send you someone to come
to the
out,
right person.
and
Okay.
yeah, they'll send you a crisis intervention, people to come help you.
Well, that's so good. Thank you so much for sharing that resource. And I really appreciate you doing this and being on here and being vulnerable, and being so willing to share your story. I love that. Before we got on this call, Jacqueline said to me, Jen, like, feel free to ask me any very deep personal questions. I'm here to answer those. And I love that so much because
Yeah,
not a lot of people can say that.
I'm transparent.
And you shared a lot in your chapter too. So definitely, if you resonate, I do encourage you to get that paperback, and that's publishing tomorrow. You get to, read it for yourself, highlight it, take your time to go through that because it's a really good one. Jacqueline, I and other 20 amazing women share their stories and healing, and it's incredibly transformational. And so, thank you so much, Jacqueline. Do
Well,
you
thank
have any last
you.
minute words that you'd love to share with
I
our listeners?
oh, absolutely. I would tell you just to understand that you're enough. Believe that you're enough. If today's a day that you've been contemplating on, I don't want to be here anymore, you're needed in this world. And it's not just people like me, people like Jen, or all the other authors. You're just as powerful. Your story is just as important. And we're here for you. And I hope that you guys do pick up the book. But just understand you're enough, and stand in your purpose. You are your power.
Thank you so much for that,
Say
Jacqueline.
that
I
with
agree
love.
100%. Your story is powerful and it can change the world. So thank you so much for saying that. And then,
Okay.
do you have anything right now that you're promoting or that you're sharing or that people can find you and maybe some resources from you, right?
No, absolutely. I mean, you can definitely go on, my LinkedIn. You just look me up under Jacqueline Aviles-Torres, and I'll send the link, my blink link over to Jen so she can put it along with the video. Yeah, I'm open to emails. I am doing right now. I'm actually doing one-on-one mentorships. First 15 minutes is free. And that this is not just, we're not just looking at, oh, I need a new job. it's more so coaching. And then we're also doing the holistic pieces as well. And things that we are promoting is because we're trying to get, I told you we had a meeting today. So we're trying to get into different agencies. So I'm open to working with agencies in education and medicine, which we already have the ball rolling. Um, and just going to core family solutions and just seeing the services that we have, everything from transformational coaching to mentorship to doing family constellations. We do a little bit of everything, but just giving it to you, how can I say, at the best quality, because what you put in is what you're going to get out.
Yes.
So I can't wait to provide these services and to take the next step and drop my own book. So I'm ready for that. You
Yes, I'm
know,
so excited for that.
I can't. It's
That's
beyond
gonna
at this
happen
point.
soon.
It definitely will. And you guys just jump on and share your story and write your story. You know, everyone's story is so important and healing, really.
Beautiful. Thank you,
Thank
Jacqueline. This
you.
was so amazing. I'm telling you, this brought so much light into me right now.
Oh no, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And I cannot wait for all the things. And also, we have a comment here. It says, "Hi, Miss Jacqueline Aviles-Torres. Good job." Oh, that's so sweet. I love it.
Thank you, beautiful people.
Thank you all.
Really.
Thank you,
All right.
Jacqueline.
All right. Thank you too, Jen. I'll be talking to you.
We'll stay in
Take
touch.
care. Bye bye.